Hi, my name is Veronica Waller, and today we'll be talking about ethical principles in psychology and the importance of ethics in psychology. The goal is to safeguard the participants, guarantee integrity, and maintain trust. To summarize the APA, it's broken down into three parts. The first is the introduction, which is organized intent for procedural application. Two, the preamble and principle. It is a framework of rules that are not enforced by laws but by standards. And three, ethical standards, which are broadly defined written roles and concepts. There are five basic principles of ethics. A. Do no harm. B. Professional responsibility. C. Integral responsibility. D. Fairness in research and practice. And E. Respect for humanity.
I'm afraid so, Doctor.
We'll look at data breaches and violations of our APA code of ethics.
I'm afraid so, Doctor.
Enjoy.
Resonance frequency. Inside the ivory towers of the Institute, the air was heavy with the scent of sterile linen and the hum of 1,000 cooling fans. Dr. Elias Vance sat at his mahogany desk, his movements rhythmic and detached, like the smooth, predictable notes of a late-night jazz solo. He was the architect of the Sanction Protocol, a system designed to streamline the human psyche. For years, he believed that order was the highest form of care, ignoring the subtle dissonances growing in the hallways outside his door. The music broke when Elias looked at the decline reports. The Sanction Protocol wasn't healing patients, it was hollowed them out. It stripped away their agency to ensure compliance, trading their humanity for a quiet, manageable silence. The realization hit him like a discordant crash of cymbals. He wasn't a healer, he was a jailer. The detached jazz of his life suddenly felt suffocating, a cage built of elegant, logical bars. He knew he couldn't play this tune any longer. "You finally heard the scream behind the silence," a voice said. Dr. Maya stood in the doorway, her presence radiating a warmth that Elias's office lacked. She spoke of beneficence and dignity, the fundamental rights of every soul to be treated with kindness and respect. She had spent years working in the lower wards, quietly mending what the Sanction Protocol broke. She didn't just want to stop the harm, she wanted to restore the inherent worth of every individual they had processed. To dismantle the system from within, they needed a foundation of trust. That foundation was Marcus. He was the head of security, but his true allegiance was to the people he protected. He represented fidelity and responsibility. Marcus provided the encrypted keys and the blind spots in the surveillance, taking a massive risk because his professional obligation to the institution was secondary to his moral obligation to the truth. "A promise to a system is nothing," Marcus whispered, "if it requires breaking a promise to humanity." The final piece of the quartet was Sarah, a brilliant analyst who lived by the codes of integrity and justice. She had been tracking the money, seeing how the Sanction Protocol was being sold to the highest bidders to create a more compliant workforce. Sarah didn't care about the corporate ladder. She cared about the equitable distribution of care. She brought the raw data that would expose the predatory nature of the Institute. "Truth isn't a suggestion," she told Elias. "It's the only ground we can stand on." The mission began in the belly of the server room. The smooth jazz was gone, replaced by the low, pulsing thrum of an impending storm. Marcus and Sarah worked in the shadows, bypassing the biometric locks that kept the Sanction Core hidden. They were the rhythm section, providing the steady beat of courage that allowed the plan to move forward. Every wire they cut and every bypass they installed was a step toward a different kind of music. As they approached the central hub, Elias felt the weight of his past choices. Maya walked beside him, her presence a reminder that their goal was not just destruction, but rebirth. They weren't just ending a protocol, they were advocating for a future where psychological health was a partnership, not a mandate. The beneficence they practiced now was active and dangerous, a light meant to burn away the rot of the old system. At the heart of the machine stood Vaughn, the CEO. He was the personification of the predatory system, a man who saw humans as variables to be solved. He stood before the main console, his presence cold and immovable. "You're throwing away perfection for sentimentality, Elias," Vaughn sneered. "The sanction protocol is the future. It's the ultimate harmony." To Vaughn, harmony was a flat line, a song with only one note played forever. Elias didn't argue. He reached for the controls. He didn't just delete the program, he initiated the resonance frequency. It was a new protocol he had written with the team, one based on support and growth rather than control. As the code executed, the sterile hum of the room was shattered. A powerful soul rock anthem seemed to vibrate through the very walls, a raw, honest, and soaring sound that celebrated the beautiful mess of the human spirit. The system buckled under the weight of the new frequency. In the observation rooms, Marcus and Sarah watched as the screen shifted from harsh red to a soft, pulsing green. The doors to the wards unlocked, not by force, but by design. The predatory structures were being overwritten by supportive ones. They saw the shift in the data. The patients weren't just settling down, they were waking up. In the aftermath, the ivory towers began to change. The Institute was renamed, becoming a place where Maya's vision of dignity and Elias's new science could flourish. They worked together to ensure that no one was ever treated as a mere data point again. The music of the building was no longer a lonely jazz or a cold silence. It was a collaborative masterpiece, a symphony of many voices where every note mattered. Elias stood on the rooftop, looking out over the city as the sun began to rise. He realized that for a long time he had viewed ethics as a set of rules, a cage to keep people in line. But now he knew the truth. Beneficence, fidelity, integrity, justice, and dignity weren't bars. They were wings. They were the frequency that allowed a soul to finally take flight. The soul rock anthem still echoed in his heart, a song of freedom that would never end.
I hope you enjoyed the story. Can you guess which APA principle each character represented?
It's not a list of musts or shalls. No gavel falls if we slip or fail. The standards, yeah, they're the iron gate, but the principles, that's the heart, the fate. Not a cage to keep us in our place, but a light to find the human face. Don't distort the meaning, don't use the name to sanction souls or play the blame. Oh, oh, oh. We're rising up to a higher ground, where the spirit of the work is found. It's the soul of the science, the heart of the art. Oh, we're rising up to a higher ground, where the spirit of the work is found. It's the soul of the science, the heart of the art. 5 golden threads that won't pull apart. You gotta feel it now. First we strive to do some good, take care of the soul like we know we should. Do no harm is the sacred song, even when the road is dark and long. Watch your ego, watch your health. Don't trade the welfare for the well. Safeguard the rights of the great and small. We lift them up so they don't fall. We built a bridge on the bedrock of trust. Being true to the work is an absolute must. Clarify the role, accept the weight of the promises made at the garden gate. Console with the peers, refer with care. A lonely burden is hard to bear. We're rising up to a higher ground, where the spirit of the work is found. It's the soul of the science, the heart of the art. We're rising up to a higher ground, where the spirit of the work is found. It's the soul of the science, the heart of the art. 5 golden threads that won't pull apart. Speak the truth, don't steal the light. Keep the science shining bright. If you gotta bend the truth to save a soul, mend that trust and make it whole. That's sincerity. Now open the doors and clear the way. Fairness for all in the light of day. Check your bias at the door, 'cause justice belongs to the rich and the poor. Everybody gets a seat at the table. Everybody gets a seat at the table. Every person has a worth, the greatest treasure on this earth. Privacy is a holy space. Respect the culture, respect the race, age, or gender, creed, or tongue. The song of dignity must be sung. It's the spirit that we sow. Five principles. Five principles. It's the heart of the art. Psychology soul.
According to the APA, ways that we can reduce violations such as data breaches is A, use encrypted devices. B, manage data responsibly by providing training, response plans, compliance with agreements. C, conduct audits. D, ensure that disproportionate risks are reduced. And E, uphold policy agreements. Wow, what a powerful song. Psychology Soul. I love psychology. The purpose of the IRB is to protect and safeguard the welfare of human rights and dignity by performing risk assessments, ethical reviews, compliance monitoring, and the authority for accountability of research programs.
Before the first question, before the light turns on, we seek the board's approval before the break of dawn. Accurate proposals, protocols in line. We don't move a muscle till the papers all are signed. Yeah. Then we pull the curtain back, let the light pour in. Tell them why we're here and where the journey will begin. The risks, the rights, the freedom just to walk away. recording every image only if they say okay. It's the blueprint of the signs, the architecture of the soul. Keeping every promise is the only way we'll hold. From the data to the mercy, let the record show the truth. For the elders in the shadows and the fire of the youth, yeah. If you're a student in my class or a patient in my care, you won't face a consequence for choosing not to share. There's a choice for extra credit, an alternative that's fair. We don't dispense with consent unless the risk is thin as air. And don't you try to buy them with a price that's way too high. Inducement shouldn't cost, that's a truth you can't deny. Clarify the service, the limits and the strain. Keep the power balance in the sunshine and the rain. Don't you dare deceive them if it leads to severe pain. If you lead them through a maze, let them out again. Debrief them in the moment, correct the false view. Minimize the harm in everything you do. And for the silent creatures under human hand, you mean in kind, the laws of the land. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Woo, yeah. Minimize the laws of the land. Minimize the suffering, the fever and the cold. Because even in the silence, a story's being told. Don't you dare fabricate. If you find a mistake, you break it just to mend. Don't steal another's vision, don't claim it as your own. Plagiarism is a seed that leaves a harvest of stone. Give credit where it's earned, let the student take the lead. Don't publish it twice just to satisfy a greed, yeah. Share the data for the truth, let the peers verify. Respect the secret folders when the reviewers pass by. The mind and the heart, repaired by the facts. We don't hide the truth in our scientific acts. The blueprint, the soul, the dream.
Elias, listen to me. This is the only way out. We have to trust the plan.
I hope you enjoyed this presentation of our ethical principles in psychology. In conclusion, we've reviewed what the Board of Ethics is and their purpose. We also introduced you to what ethics look like in the field of psychology. Well, thank you, and I appreciate your time. Have a good rest of your day.